Welcome back. Right now, it is time to speak with Nexus IT. They always bring us monthly tips, and this time we are going to focus on a hack that happened recently. Earl, Foote, and Tara Anderson are joining us today. So happy they're both with us today. Earl, let's start with you. Tell me more about this alarming hack.
Yeah, good morning, Christine, and thanks for having us on. Yeah, this is a really interesting situation. It is a hack that is exploiting some vulnerabilities, four vulnerabilities to be specific within the Microsoft Exchange platform, on-premise Exchange platform. So it's not the cloud platform, but it's for on-site servers. And it affects the Microsoft Exchange 2010, 2013, 2016, and 2019 Exchange server versions. Now, Microsoft Exchange is really probably the most universal email server that is used worldwide, and has really begun to be replaced by Office 365. But for those businesses that have on-premise, or even if they've put into a private cloud environment, an actual Exchange server, there's a significant vulnerability that is being exploited. The attacks seem to have started with a hacking group out of China. It's a nation-state associated hacking group called Halfnium, and the attacks are compromising these servers and allowing the hackers to use those servers. First of all, certainly to steal whatever information or data is on those servers, to steal whatever IP that is being transmitted across email through those servers, but they're also using the servers to launch ransomware attacks, a ransomware called DearCry. There are projections, and actually the vulnerability was it was discovered in December of 2020. Microsoft was notified in December or January, but they didn't actually disclose or issue patches for this vulnerability until March 2nd. And once they disclosed, there have been a significant amount of new hacking groups exploiting this vulnerability as well. Estimates of servers in the United States alone that are potentially hacked climb up to about 250,000 potential servers that are currently hacked. It's a pretty sticky situation, as sticky as the SolarWinds Orion situation we talked about a few months ago, or potentially even more.
And Tara, this hack hasn't been focused on quite as much as the other hack, but very alarming, very concerning, as tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people have been affected, from business to government to schools. What do we need to know about this?
Oh, absolutely. You're right, Christine. It hasn't been focused on as much, and I wonder if it's a case of being desensitized. SolarWinds at the end of 2020 really surprised us in a few different ways. It was kind of like the shock and awe that really set SolarWinds apart from Halfnium, even though Halfnium can be seen as more devastating. 2020 served up all kinds of different scenarios for us to think about and worry about. SolarWinds was surprising because it had been sitting there dormant for 9 months and undetected. In contrast, Halfnium was diagnosed rather quickly in comparison. What we need to know about it is, like Earl said, the scale is massive. We don't know to what end at this point. Hundreds of thousands of servers are affected. Mostly small businesses, small governments, infrastructure, which is in contrast to SolarWinds. Something to be also concerned about is this is an sorry, I apologize, I can't speak this morning, but unauthenticated attack, meaning all they need really is access to the servers and an IP address to get into email instances, email accounts, which is a little bit different from SolarWinds, where it was actually infected by the nature of uploads and downloads and updates. So A little bit different, but what you need to know about this is that it is massive at scale. We're still trying to diagnose to what extent, and that we're looking at small businesses, towns, cities, and local governments being most affected, including infectious disease researchers, higher ed, as you mentioned.
And
Sorry.
Earl, as someone who is not in the tech industry, someone on the outside looking in, this feels very concerning. You start to think about cyber warfare, other things that could happen with all of these hacks that are occurring over and over again. So again, what do we really need to know? What can we do to protect ourselves?
Yeah, good question, and you're absolutely right. I mean, these last two massive hacks that we've talked about, the SolarWinds Orion and now Microsoft Exchange Halfnium, both have been executed primarily by nation-state sponsored hacking groups, one out of Russia, Cozy Bear, which was applicable to the SolarWinds Orion situation, and this situation by Halfnium out of China. And the potential implications of the data that is being stolen and gathered, and what that could mean in terms of cyber warfare, it's most definitely concerning. I guess, a few quick tips. First of all, if you are a small business, a government, a school, whatever, whatever type of entity you are, if you have Microsoft Exchange in any way, shape, or form, go get the latest patches as soon as possible, and do threat hunting. So you've got to, if your Exchange server is compromised, simply applying the patches is not going to kick out the bad guys. It's not going to get rid of the hackers. They will still be there. So you've got, there's some tools and there's some publications on Microsoft's website or throughout the internet that will give you information about how to look for the hack and how to eliminate it. Certainly call professionals if it's above your head. But for small, medium-sized businesses, small governments, I would definitely recommend, us cybersecurity people are constantly recommending to get rid of aging technology. It's always a risk. It's always a vulnerability. And oftentimes, those recommendations fall on deaf ears until massive things like this happen. And so, get rid of your old technology and think twice about doing on-premise type of solutions anymore. Most software and SaaS companies are focusing on their cloud products, and their security focuses on those products, and they're not focusing as closely on on-premise solutions, and those are proving to be very very risky in today's market. So some quick potential recommendations there.
Tara, as someone who is in the tech industry, you're an expert. When you hear of yet another hack such as this one, how does that make you change what you do and how you interact with your clients?
Well, that's a fantastic question. The key here is making sure that our clients are prepared, that they're not using outdated software solutions, hardware solutions. To Earl's point, we want to be current there. We want to make sure that we're running endpoint protection, that they're aware of any type of compromises that are rising to the surface. As in CISA does post alerts out regularly, what the current trends are in cyber espionage. As you've noticed, we've been hit from all different directions, so it's really hard to predict. It's getting very sophisticated. But it's making sure that they have endpoint protection, making sure that they know what to look for, making sure that there's threat monitoring, that there's regular vulnerability assessments done, that they have a team to come in and handle their incident response. So knowing how to handle a breach is key, how to act quickly, what to do if you are compromised and breached, and then how to look for web shells that still may be placed, how to look for additional threats, how to see if the bad actors are still inside your network. So it's awareness, it's training, and then making sure you have a plan and you respond appropriately and quickly.
Thank you so much, Earl, Foote, and Tara Anderson, for joining us today from Nexus IT. We always appreciate the information that you bring to us monthly. And you can learn out more about Nexus IT at nexusitc.net. They can help you with all your security concerns, tech needs, and much more. We'll be back with more right after this.